Padres, we got to talk about some MLB insiders over at Sports Illustrated, talking about future Padres, off-season drama, potential acquisitions. I got to talk about why Gleyber Torres is on the screen. We're going to get to all of that on this episode of Padres Digest. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen, back with another episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. The two obligatory things I do at the start of every show is say, hey, if you want to comment, it would be fantastic. And also, if you want to subscribe, it would be great. If not, no worries ever. Let's get to talking about San Diego Padres baseball. I'm going to pull up the headline from this article that I get it. We're in a post-trade deadline, pre-playoff zone where some teams are starting to no longer be like in contention, and maybe the drama is high on certain areas of baseball, but other areas are just trying to create content. So you get headlines like this one that I want to talk about, where we're predicting future signings and off-season action, and I've got actually a couple other videos already on some other ones that popped up talking about like Ryan O'Hearn and where he's projected to land, and like this is not a one. This is going to be a couple others that we're going to see, I bet, in this. So this is obviously content for content's sake, and if you are here for hard and fast Padres updates, this video is not for you. Thank you very much for checking in. But talking about all things along the lines of this article, a lot of it is conjectural, sort of, hey, like he fits with the system, and the Padres are looking for fixes at stuff. Like a lot of it is just very generic stuff. But maybe the core chunk that I took away from this article being like, oh, that's actually kind of, dude, there's a lot to unpack there, actually. And that is this one. As always, apologies if you were watching this on the phone and the text is too small. I'm right here to read it for you. Where will he end up? ? Torres has been predicted to take his talents to the West Coast, signing a deal with the San Diego Padres. He will be taking the place of Luis Arraez in their lineup, who is predicted to land with his old team, the Yankees. And that's where, to me, this became talkable. Like, it's not just there's two big pieces there. There's not just we put it into a randomizer and it says Gleyber Torres is going to be a Padre. You know, it's the Gleyber Torres is going to replace Luis Arraez. I'm from the group chat direct people I interact with in the world, I am in the minority of wanting the Padres to keep Luis Arraez. But if we're going to play along with the hypothetical scenario here and the Padres do lose Luis Arraez in favor of him going to the Yankees, then here's what the Padres are allegedly going to be signing this offseason. Now, I know that one season isn't everything, and this is not he's not guaranteed to come here and do any better or any worse, but it's just the most recent sampling size we have of Gleyber Torres. 260 hitter, 15 home runs, 71 RBIs, 124 hits. Okay. Cool. ... question mark. I think that a guy who has like he does like a little bit of a pedigree of having touched a little bit of success in New York, and like he's been in some big moments, he's been in some big games. I could see where, given AJ Preller's propensity for liking veterans, at least to start the season, that someone like this could end up being a good fit for the Padres. The article that I'm citing here goes on to estimate it to be somewhere in like the 15-ish million range that he's going to cost. So I think, to me, the question is, like, if we're talking about a serious spin here, and we're not talking about like, oh, the Padres are going to go get, again, this is all doing a hypothetical of if we lose Luis Arraez, saying that the Padres are going to go make a spin and not do the Gavin, I always want to call him Ben Sheets. I am of multiple generations of baseball now, so it's multiple guys merge. Apologies for that. But in talking about getting a guy, like you can do something like getting Gavin Sheets, where it's like, hey, we see something there and we're going to take a shot because it's $700,000. And if that doesn't pan out, we can always jettison that project and move on to something else without it being a major issue, versus going out and getting this for $15 million and being like, no, we gotta stick with this as our guy, like for ride or die, for better or for worse. We have to make this work. Or maybe not for the entirety of the season, but for a vast majority of the season, we have to make this work, or we have to try this. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you invest $15 million, it's not going to be, like, first sign of trouble, we're moving him down to AAA. I'm also kind of curious, like, with where Arraez has ended up in terms of defensively, he's an okay first baseman. He has been talked about filling some second in these days of Cronenworth at short and Xander gone and us needing to move some serious pieces around. But largely, he is a DH conversation piece, a DH who can platoon at first type of thing. And in replacing that, because some of you like, I'm sure that you guys will run the full spectrum. Drop a comment on what you think of the Luis Arraez. But if we're replacing a guy who's up in the 270 plus, like, he's been close to, if not a 300 hitter his entire time with the Padres. So he's definitely, in terms of the average, above this. But the home runs, very different story there. And the home runs, I'm not going to say that there's a singular one cause of the Padres' issues this year, but it does seem to be that the lack of home runs are a very real thing that could have changed the outcomes of some games over the last 30 days. And Gleyber Torres having 15 home runs this year, again, that's not a guarantee that anything translates from park to park, from year to year, but a guy who has the potential for a little bit more pop could be an interesting remedy for the Padres. Not saying go entirely Joey Gallo, but getting a guy who's going to maybe, like, we've seen what Luis Arraez hitting 290 does for our offense. It doesn't get it done, obviously, because we're not the best team in baseball. Like, we're not rattling off wins. We have a very questionable pitching staff. I get that, but like 290, Luis Arraez doesn't win it for us. And Arraez 7 home runs this year. Does 265 and 15 and 20 and 25. And I know that, like, there's not Kyle Schwarbers growing on trees, but I would be curious if we are looking to fill that, like, first base, you can teach anybody to do it kind of vibes. Do we want to settle for a Gleyber Torres? Or do we want to take the chance to go really see what kind of power's out there? Maybe O'Hearn, maybe, I don't know. It just, all of these articles get me thinking. It's fun to play hypothetical GM, and it's fun to talk about that. But maybe, yeah, if we're replacing Luis Arraez, Gleyber Torres is an interesting conversation piece. But I don't know if I'm like 100% sold on him. So drop a comment on what you think. We can obviously have the Arraez conversation, but also Gleyber Torres. Is this something that interests you? Is this something that you want to see as a Padre? Is there some other options that you want to see happen in this offseason? I know we still got the regular season to talk about right now, but it is never too early to start stressing about our stress next year. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, Padres fans. It would be much appreciated. Talk to you next time.